All right, game of the day 7. This is 1 week of this. So far, so good. I just wish they were a bit quicker to make, and I stopped rambling about so many things each episode. We're on support Firebrand again, because I really do enjoy it. Again, as I 100% predicted, a lot of you guys gave me advice I was well aware of yesterday. Don't worry. However, the main thing that I'd completely forgotten is the auto in the first time doesn't even give Aegis anymore. It's on the 2. So we're going to be slightly better at that today, but still the swiftness and stuff is a bit of a nightmare, and there's a few rotational problems you will find here. I actually think this is quite, in review, I think these are quite interesting to see such shoddy games and why I think they're shoddy. So yeah, let's just roll through. Let's do another one. Obviously, we'll try and get to some better gameplay as we go forward. But I have a lot of fun on support Firebrand, and de-rusting on it is probably quite important for me at the moment since it's been so long. So this is my final placement as well. This is the other big thing with this game. The last one before I get put into a division. The likely ones would be the top of gold or the bottom of platinum. Very rarely. Because I can freely account swap, I can redo my placements however many times I like. And so I've done more placements than most people would realize. I could, the highest I've ever come out is upper mid plat. The lowest I've ever come out was mid gold, but I'm nearly always like plat 1 when I come out of placements, or, you know, bottom of plat or top of gold. So we will see where we go this time. The start wasn't that good, realistically. You've seen through Game of the Days. I've had 3 losses so far, but if I can snag this, 7 wins, 3 losses isn't too bad. And so, yeah, we're on the Battle of Khylo, which I think is the first time we've seen this map here. So let's see. This time I'm opting with the staff swiftness at the start, straight into the tome F1 to give myself quickness for the mantras. Then you can just drop the tome. It doesn't really do anything, but I'm popping the 5 here, Ashes of the Just, which gives people some burning. If there was a Condi equivalent of Mender's, it might make this tome a little bit more interesting, but all the weapon skills would still be duds, so I don't know. Anyway, we're probably just going to drop this tome, and I'm just trying to figure out if there's something else I want. I drop it here, and I know I'm going to get a second packet of quickness when I drop it, but I don't really have anything to utilize that for. I'm wondering if I can drop it up at the side of the node in future for a quickness in power. I get quickness when I swap to staff anyway. I really like the agility sigil and stuff, but that's only in combat, while the tome trait quickness is all the time, so I'm thinking I'll do that in the future. Here, though, I'm hoping everyone will stack still so we can get a bit more swiftness. Here, I think a lot of Firebrands will zerg the node. I think that's bad. I'm going to hug. And you notice I've had this guy target the whole time. My Necro. I don't really care if they're a Scourge or a Reaper. I saw that he had a Plague Signet before. I kind of want to hug him. Immediately, though, I realize he's just wandered off. And this Ranger is getting pressured. So I'm going to try and help him. Starting off with the Staff 5 to interrupt the Warrior as he aggresses. I wanted it to go like this, and then I might have actually got the interrupt. The Ranger could now dodge back over the wall, but hasn't got the awareness for that. Which is a bit of a shame. I go into the F3. This is heavy mitigation. So the idea is to drop the 5, bump everyone's toughness, give prot and stuff. I'm in an enemy Guardian's, like, protect bubble, which is really weird. I'm still autoing a bit much because I've still forgotten at this point in the game about the thing. I drop some reflects. Just for a bit of protection over things. And I go for the mid Teamfight stomp. So I proc this here for stab. But one of the stab is instantly drained and I don't notice. So I should spend another one, or at least give myself Aegis. But one of the stab was insta-drained, and then his F2, his downstate 2 knocked me away. So I was kind of wasting time there. There's a bit of a Guild Wars 1 thing going on here, which is that you don't give your monks resurrection skills. Because if they're spending their time resurrecting, they're not spending their time supporting. And there's a similar Guild Wars 2 scenario for when you're to some capacity and some extent, you are the perfect person to do all the stomps and things because you have, you know, all of the Aegis and stab. Now, in truth, I can give it to anyone I like and they can all be that potent. But in some ways, I'm a perfect guy to do it and everyone else can keep pressuring. But in other ways, if you're still in a really hot scenario, I shouldn't really be doing this. Right now, I should, I think, be helping the Necros and stuff. And we can just leave this body to rot. It doesn't matter. What this is kind of doing is stopping them getting full cap, but I don't have to be stomping for that. I can just stay on the ring. And look, I could be using my Staff 2 here. I have my entire Tome F2. I could dodge roll on that guy. And this dude's getting low. So, especially with the interrupt. And then, by the time I'm done with a stomp, the cleave's gone through anyway. So, basically, I'm just wasting time here. Even my Aegis from my heal isn't worth it because the Aegis was too late. It didn't mitigate anything. The guy's down state 2 was done anyway, so what was I expecting? Anyway, I swapped to shields. We do some dodges. We pop some stuff. We do actually heal people quite well. We splash some Aegis around. I double tap the shield 5 for some heals. Suddenly, we're all looking pretty healthy. We do actually win the... And finally, I go into my F2 tome. And I'm trying to heal this guy. And the way he keeps doing this crap, man, means it's really annoying to try and auto him. There I use the 2, which I don't actually think is any healing unless you cleanse a Condi with it. So, it's just to get a Condi off of him if he had one on him to get him out of combat quicker if he wanted it. But they're starting to cleave the body when they don't need to be. That Soul Beast is also an axe offhand, you guys will notice there. So, now I'm being really heavy-footed. Now, here's the thing with Firebrand. If you can't trust your allies to a certain extent to rotate well, because you kind of try and stick with your damage carries and where you anticipate the big fights, you need them to be the one that pushes, okay? If I'm the one that remember, this is solo queuing, casually minded games here, right? So basically, if I'm the one that pushes the line or falls back to defender engagement or something, a lot of people will just think, oh, that guy's got it covered, and they won't click. They're not thinking proactively about stuff. So if you push, you're often going to get left alone in 1v1s and outnumbered scenarios, which is terrible. You do nothing. You have to be with the other person. So you kind of have to stick with your person and hope that they're smart enough to find the correct engagement a lot of the time. Well, this is my understanding, and you guys can tell me in the comments what you feel about that. Firebrand, I'm fine with the skills in general. In terms of game knowledge, it's just getting back into the muscle memory and stuff of it. But it's the rotational capacity stuff that I'm actually not 100% where my philosophies lie at the moment. But the idea, I think, is I need to have them be the ones that push. There's a thief that has pushed, you see, and gone to fire, and you might say, well, WP, why aren't you there? Well, because I'm anticipating him to just decap and leave. I've missed my window with that as well, since he left very early, and it's not my job to keep up with him. He's sort of, because he's not a hard damage carry, he's more of a skirmisher, right? I think it's fine to have him go do that, and he can just bail out on his own. He doesn't need my support to bail out. And likewise, if I go to support him for some kind of big engagement, he's not going to really have the pressure to swing it and hold it the way I'd want. I want to be with one of these two guys, or the Rev, admittedly. But they're all hanging around mid. They're all doing nothing right now. They're all just standing here. And I feel in, like, anguish right now, because I'm like, this is so slow and lazy. And I'm standing here, and I'm giving them stuff to hope they move. And look. So he doesn't even go, man. He just, like, stands, and he's, like, watching. And this guy's just standing and watching. And I'm getting, like, really cheesed off. I'm like, for God's sake. I ping the guy, and then I think, fine. Maybe the Rev is able to actually do something. So I start following the Rev. We were in F1 there. We went for a CC, and we gave an Ashes of the Just. And then, as soon as I jump down, this thief jumps me. I don't know how squishy I am versus the thief. He seems to be able to hit me quite hard, so I'm quite concerned about him for the remainder of the fight. The Rev takes the kill. I go for Stomp. And what I do as well is I cover myself with my stab, right? But also, I drop the Reflect Bubble, because I know the thief is likely to try and headshot me to get the interrupt here. That or a steal, right? But the headshots will be reflected by the bubble. So I do this, and he's fighting the Rev anyway. He shadow steps out. I aim to support the Rev a little bit longer, but then I realize, hold on, it's the Rev v the thief. It's going to be a bit flighty. There's a fight that's actually opened at mid now. So how about we go up here? We can hold our tome 5. Drop the bubble there. Look back to see what's going on. My Reaper goes down. So I'm going to stay with him. I make sure to look up at the mid node before I drop down in case there's going to be a decap right under my nose. Right? I don't disagree with pushing off of the node here and hitting them and going for the intercept. I really don't disagree with that. But you just want to make sure that nobody's going to decap underneath you. I looked. They weren't. I went down, hoping he'd digress, and the guy immediately comes back and stands on the node. And now, once again, we've got 2 people standing on the node. I try and give him might as a precast thing so that hopefully he'll push some engagement. And I think, well, right, screw you. So this is kind of, it's not that the Reaper's super bad right now here, by the way. The idea that he wants to play a 2-cap game is essentially what's going on here. If you look at the minimap, he just wants to hold it back here. He doesn't have to with this team comp, I don't think. He wants to hold it back there. He wants to play 2-cap. And the idea that he stays to defend, allowing me to push up to a key engagement, is fine, right? That's kind of like what I was talking about before, where you don't want the Firebrand left behind. Hopefully someone else would be, in theory. The problem is, we've got our Rev on the back node already. Now, ideally, what the Rev does is he moves up, allowing us to all come up, and the Rev watches the line, and then we pull back. But, The Rev might be in a fight with a Thief or something. Anyway, this hasn't all gone through my mind in the moment. I've just realized he's playing static again, so I'm pushing up. This is a good situation for me. I should have been earlier, and we could have saved this, but it's a rally race, and unlike in all these other Game of the Day videos where you see we go for a rally race for the stomp, here I'm going to MI or a Signet of Mercy to go for a res. But right as I go for that, a stealth stomp lands. So, let's rewatch that. I didn't know about the stealth stomp. Let's see how I go out there. I look back, I see that the Rev's back there and everything. So, there is a stealth there. I didn't notice that was a stealth. It could have been a body getting ported away or what. There's no scrapper, so it wasn't a function gyro or anything. However, if I had known there was a stealth, I did have a saving play. This is a really fun build. Here's the thing with this build that's so fun and also so embarrassing and frustrating about it when you don't do well. There's always something you could have done. So here, I could have Tome F1'd already. I could be casting it, and I could use my skill 3, which would have been a CC over that, likely interrupted the stealth stomp. Unfortunately, I don't get it. The res goes through. This res would have happened anyway, for what it's worth, even if I'd got mine, because it was the Reaper, I think, transfusing, or Scourge. This is a Scourge, right? Sorry. Enemy Scourge, allied Reaper, transfusing with the Well of Blood trait and everything, right? So, you know, we didn't have much for that. We are actually outnumbered here, therefore, so we want to be careful. Now the Necro, so look at the Reaper. Look at this Reaper's rotations. The Reaper pushes up and gets insta-decapped. The Rev is in engagement with the Warrior there, and obviously the Thief, you know, that was fighting the Rev had come up here earlier. So it's just infuriating, really. He's given us equal numbers, though, so we can still do this fight, potentially. You notice the Thief jumped me straight away. Here's another role of Firebrand. It's actually, when you watch really high-level stuff, I'm pretty sure this is more of a Thiefy role. And this is one of the things people don't often appreciate about why Thief is so strong. But you notice how we're in a big team fight. The team fight will go where the team fight goes. If it means we're all fighting over here, behind this heart over here, you know, when you're playing well, I think you don't care about this too much. However, you'll notice that the red team's almost fully capped it. So what this guy's trying to do is just dip on for a second, contribute as much as he can to the fight, but flip it for his team's favor. Like, this is like a secondary objective. He's noticed it, and I've noticed it too. So what I'm actually doing with my positioning here is I'm pulling back just to deny that full cap while the fight continues. And again, I'm doing this here. Usually you might like me to hug much closer one of my pressure builds. And, you know, we're really tightly on top of one another. But, I'm doing it here, and what you often find in high-level play, I think, is Thieves do this during big fights. You watch some ATs, you go to someone like George's streams where he's throwing those out. If you watch Jebro's streams, if I ever get back into casting ATs, you'll see that this is what good Thieves are doing a lot of the time, and teams are relying on to just do that little bit of skirmish towards the node and leave. Here you see I'm doing it on Firebrand, which isn't bad necessarily, especially since the Reaper sort of greedily pushes up. You notice we got a downstate, and obviously there's an ally at play for this guy that could help swing that, and it's a ranger with a pet, so I'm looking at my F1 now to interrupt the pet if anything happens with it. I see here that the port comes from the Scourge, who's just transfused. So I throw my F1, and now I know that we need big cleave on this, because there's a transfuse there, there'll be a Will of Blood, there's going to be pet res, this pet will get interrupted and start again. So I'm actually going to stay really high pressure here. We're all healthy, and I'm going to spam the auto, which is a good hitter, really. But do you see how I spam my auto twice and it did nothing? I think it's because I'm slightly on a hill above them. Super frustrating. But look, they've even got the Thief resing there. And the Reaper doesn't quite get the pressure with the Deadeye. The node we've scored enough decap to now fully ignore. This guy's low. I haze him with a staff thing, but it doesn't really quite accomplish anything. The Thief went down, going for the res, which is good. Mistake on his part, realistically. Interrupt with the shield 5 to get the res off. Go for a stomp. Stab an Aegis. The body blinks away. Obviously, it's a Thief. It was a bad play from me. He's moved towards the Ranger who scored the kill on my Deadeye over here. This wasn't necessarily something I could help with too much. But yeah, so now it's looking really quite bad. I take Reflects over there just because I Signet of Mercy on top of the pipe to res my guy. And the Reaper got some good pressure this time, which is excellent. So now we've got an advantage because we just got a double kill because the Reaper... Look at the Reaper here. Look at this. Go into Shrouds... do your dangerous stuff, and he's managed to cleave through. And that's won us the team fight. Now, this time I'm happy to come back for the hard cap, because it's just 2 seconds away, and then I can merciful intervention up and stay with my Reaper, right? And I can continue doing my stuff. I hesitate here because I'm wondering about respawns, and what I want them to do, at least one of these players, is to come back. I also know that this Scourge is low and trying to bail from the fight, and I'm wondering how this is going. But he's actually managed to line of sight my guy. And I notice he's really low. Just because I'm a Firebrand, again, here's a good demonstration. The F1 is good damage. It also goes through walls and stuff. So I come and kill this guy. Here he is fearing, but I don't quite see the animation. I didn't know if he'd do it instantly. He did. I went for the Aegis, but it was actually a miss because the Thief came over and blinding powdered for a stealth stomp, a double stealth stomp, which was completely pointless. Here now, I know they've had respawns, so you wonder why I'm walking around like this, even though we never saw any enemies. It's because we know that they had respawns, and this guy's going to come up. So here's a really frustrating bit. Personally, I think the play is for me to come up, hold the node, and the Thief, who hopefully would be smart enough to know that there's respawns coming here, to come, just quickly kill this, and then I can move on and unlock the rest of the map for myself, right? That's what I think the right play is here, just to quickly defend this node, because me and the Thief were both here. However, right now, as I move up, I'm looking at the minimap, and I see that the Thief's leaving. Maybe I should have been tipped off by the unnecessary blinding powder stomp, and unnecessary aggression altogether, really, from the Thief a second ago, that he wasn't quite clued in. So, it's a bit of a problem. I'm coming up, and I'm in that dangerous situation where I'm in a 1v1 for no reason. It's just going to stall there for a while. This actually isn't a good play, in my opinion. So I'm really just hoping the Thief will come to far. And I'm like, please come to far. Please come to far. I take a dodge roll because I didn't want him to weapon swap and point blank shot or something. I come in here. I hold this. He stays on greatsword. I outrange the greatsword too. And I'm on the node, but like, this is bad, guys. So I hold it here, and then even worse, because nobody's coming, the Thief's decided he's going to walk all the way across the map to get an empty node that we had a respawn going for anyway. Fun stuff, right? So even worse, the Thief has respawned and zerged here on the enemy team. And yeah, I'm going to die. So there's the longbow swap afterwards. And so I go down, and I'm feeling pretty grumpy about that, especially considering these two are now going to collapse mid before I can get back, right? Look at the overzerg as well. Look at the overzerg back to close. They've left just the Reaper up there. If I could support that Reaper there, that's great positioning right now. I can't support that Reaper there right now. It's not great positioning. Making that decided effort to pause a bit less now. We're not even that far in the game. We're only 100 points in. Alright, so I give myself swiftness. I go into the tome F3, and I'm like, why did I do that? Maybe I could... I don't know. So I drop it, which was stupid as well. I should have at least drained all the pages. And I should have used the quickness for the manchas there. So just... And I always... Even when I wasn't rusty at Firebrand, I'd always forget to refresh my manchas. Come at me, internet. It was just something I'd always forget. So here I notice I've got a downstate ally as I rotate in. I'm looking for the res. I'm considering mercy, but I see nobody's doing anything. I port over instead. Take the res. He's going to go up to the node, which just got decapped. I really appreciate that a big fight's going on over here. This is a bit of an overzerg from me. I go for an interrupt. It's irrelevant. My Rev's pushing deep. And I think my Rev's pushing deep because he knows he has Firebrand support. So I'll come up with him. And I don't mind this, by the way. You might think, oh, a 2v2 all the way out here on the road. What's the point in that? Don't forget, we are on their spawn. So anyone coming out is going to respawn into this. And we're a good fight here. So I'm happy to hold them staggered, wiping at their spawn while the rest of my team caps everything. The Reaper lost his fight in mid. The Rev scores the kill. I go with the staff line to interrupt. Here, I got feared. I'm even watching back. I'm not going to pause it to analyze exactly why. I basically got Aegis. It's too early. He ripped the Aegis and then went for the fear. I need the Rev to fight here, so I ping him because it's not going to be a situation where I just walk in alone. We are in a 2v2, so this is perfectly okay. Ideally, I wouldn't want to, you know, help him slowly grind down a warrior for too long. But yeah, and now I'm alone. The Rev's very intelligently bailed out there, I would say. So we've got the DH here, we've got a warrior here, we've got someone else. I'm on their doorstep, kind of alone. The Rev bailed out and scored a kill, which is excellent. I noticed that the warrior has tethered me, and he wasn't doing anything with the tether the whole way along, but I knew he might turn around. So remember, this tether is, if the warrior can create a big gap, he pulls us. So the warrior finally notices we're tethered, and... You notice, here, I'll replay the footage ever so slightly. I'm actually on camera about face this entire walk, so watch here. I could have kited with the Rev here, and it was probably the better play. This is a mistake, me going towards their spawn, just to be very clear here. I got hit with the focus. So here's the tether, and I've seen the tether at this point. So I camera about face here. I'm still running in this direction, but I'm watching. And the reason I've done this is because the second the warrior turns around, I'm going to turn around with him. But he doesn't do it, and now you see the hesitation, and now you see he turns around. So I turn around too to not get pulled. And here's the mistake I made walking towards the spawn. The Scourge is respawning, who can corrupt my boons and stuff. And I'm like major outnumbered. The Rev is leaving. I need to survive just so that that rally doesn't happen with the Rev. But, and I do. I probably wouldn't have rallied on his kill because I just don't really do enough damage right now. Rev intelligently knows not to push into lots of players. So that's my second death of the game. And the mistake was focusing too much on my skill bar, basically, instead of thinking about, okay, where am I going? I should have just followed the Rev the whole time. We would have been fine. So yeah, that's my mistake there. Mantra's still on cooldown this time. More messiness with the tome. If I'm gonna do it, at least give the swiftness, Christ's sake. So yeah, we go back towards mid because there's a big fight. It is the one and only place to go. Could have been there faster, obviously. I throw the staff 2 up there early, just in case someone sees it. They'll walk into it and get some heals. I take some CC. I don't quite know where my guys are right now. So the Necro is who I'm trying to heal, dodging on him, popping my Mantra. Hopefully not the last cast on the Mantra, but I go the whole way because he's low and I don't seem to be able to get him back up. I also throw a cleanse on him too, because I know that Scourge is annoying. Here I leave the Scourge down. I want to rot a body, guys, for once. Can we do this, please? It's not necessary to touch that guy. They do it anyway. I want the Reaper to push with me. Is he going to do something? Is he going to do something? So here you actually see my Ranger's pretty low back there. I maybe should have retargeted to the Ranger and pushed that. This is probably a big mistake right here. And you see how many of the mistakes I think here are actually rotational ones. Because I forced a 1v2. I should have helped my Ranger. Although the Thief as well was in that engagement that I just zerged away from. Nightmare scenario. I'm free capping far alone. The Reaper's left me here to do it. So I'm frustrated at that. But it was my bad coming here in the first place. He should have pinged me realistically and said, what are you doing, you scrub? Go back to mid. That's what he should have done if he was a good player. He didn't. He left me there, which is the worst. I tried to get some interrupts out. I miss. I hit the roof. I cleave over the body, but it's a res really quickly. I realize I don't have my Mantras. We try and throw some blocks out for my allies. The Mace 2 does nothing. Mace 3, sorry. Just general supporting over this. I go for a stomp with stab. The node I just capped got decapped instantly and secured for the enemy team. Like, it was such a low value play. Such an awful play from me there. Here we can interrupt with the shield 5, but it's unnecessary. Give some might over the body. So here, I think I start a stomp, then I leave, and I decide, oh, okay, I will, I'll rot that. And then I come back and I'm like, no, that's a terrible rot because I just got, someone's coming, like, literally from that node. So let's watch how I do this. But then as I walk back, I get feared instead of dodge rolling. But it's okay. I have the Mantra with the Smite condition automatic proc on heal, which means that I stun break myself from the fear, basically. There's a kill on the nodes. Here I feel bad because my Thief's down. I could have saved him. Do you see literally every mistake? Everything that goes wrong, I can attribute to myself on a build like this. That's what's cool about Firebrand, or any support build, because you can attribute it to yourself. You know that there's always that next thing. Sometimes with damage builds, you will hit that plateau a lot earlier of, oh, I made the mistake, oh, there's nothing more I could have done. My build's holding me back. But really, there's just so much cool awareness and so deep you can go on a support build. So here, once again, you'll be like, WP, why are you over-zerging to this node, forcing the 1v2? There's just a basic principle at play here that I very much agree when I'm on a support, right? We have double cap in our territory, okay? We even have, this is a duplicate of before. The Necro sitting around doing nothing, the Rev's back at close, right? I believe once you've got this, a really good way to aggressively slam down a game, and I do believe in Snowball in solo queue, because people rage and they whine and they quit and there's all these things, right? Is take a heavy hitter, push to far, and force the team fight in their territory over here. Have the one high mobility guy lingering back, which, you know, we could do with our Thief, who's actually on Treb right now. Have that, but then force the fight on far. So I'm coming to reinforce this, because we basically just cleared their team. there will be red respawns here, likely more than one. And if I can come and hold this Soul Beast in the fight, we get a good game here. And we can, like, snowball this map down. So that's why I've come here. And I've thrown in the spot. Obviously, I don't need to be on the node. And I'm just watching for the respawns. Now, I'm looking and I don't see anyone. And in the moment, I actually didn't see anyone. I've just noticed on the footage that there was, for like one frame, right down to the bottom right, there was someone. Which is amazing. There you go. So now we notice him. Now, a 1v2 isn't what I want. I want more than that, realistically. The enemy team hasn't zerged into this, which they basically countered this position, this rotation of mine. So this didn't work out in the end for me. But I still think it was actually an alright play, especially if you do this kind of thing at the start of a game. I think it was okay. So I give my guy Might. I give, you know, CCs in case the Guardian interrupts himself like he just did there. I interrupt again with the Tome F3. I start spamming my autos on him to just pressure, pressure, pressure. You see how much more I actually offer here? And then, you know, in terms of getting the kill quickly, you can sort of offensively help as well. And so now I move. So the play didn't really work that well there. But that's the idea, and I do sort of stand by that idea, I think. Ideally, it would have been not even the Soul Beast. It would have been another, like a Necro or something up there. Maybe the Rev. Anyway, so I come over. I throw an interrupt over the body because I don't know if there's a stealth going on. There's the fear. Now, my guy got feared off. That is my bad, okay? Again, it's my mistake because watch. I'm the Firebrand. My mantras don't just give me stab and Aegis. There you go. See, you see there was the Cloak and Dagger Thief there, right? So I'm merciful to my ally who's cleaving. And then we shield 5 instantly to interrupt the thief that was there, who's still in stealth, but he's there, right? So we do that and stop the res going through. Now, it's my bad because all I have to do... Here's the Might for him. I just need to pop one of these. It will give him the Aegis he needs to not be feared off. But I miss it. I do it too late. Look, he's feared, and I'm only just pressing the mantra. So it's my bad. I know it doesn't look so bad because I wasn't the one that got feared, but he's on my cleave. The thief come back and just start rezzing again, which you can clearly see. And there he is. So, yeah, I fail there again. I could have dropped this Staff 5 preemptively as well, maybe. I could have Shield 5 Staff 5, so he gets knocked away and then he can't get back to the body easily because the Staff is there. Instead, I went for Empower for Might for my Rev, and then got the Rev knocked down. So the Thief's on me again, and again, it's pretty heavy hitting. We come back over. We're going to use the 2 here for Taunt and Aegis, which is where I finally remember that's a thing now. Here, there it is, guys. Look at that sweet-ass Aegis proc. Dip on the node, take some decap. Thief leaves. I noticed the second he leaves. I don't care about decapping any further. I'm going to immediately Merciful down and help. My Reaper was in Shroud, so it actually did nothing. You notice he's on full Shroud and low health. I can't heal him while he's like that, so... This is why Scourge for a long time was... I don't know what the meta is at the moment, but Scourge was, like, preferable to Reaper in a lot of ways when you were looking at that Firebrand duo. Just because you can always heal a Scourge. You can heal them when they have Barrier on. You can't heal them when they have... Shroud up. So yeah, anyway, he's low. I'm spamming the mantra. He dips into Shroud again, which I get why he's doing that. He's doing that to blind. So it's not like I'm angry with him for that or whatever. I held the mantras. I don't want to use that last tick. Deadeye's up. I noticed that guy's low down there. I cast a Staff 5 in the fight. So often these players, if they were just watching the floor, they could kite back through, and it's so great. Like, what you're watching here is a 1v1 where my guy started to kite out. And this is the perfect moment where all he has to do is walk over my wall, and I've saved him. But it takes, like, that extra level to really utilize a Firebrand in that way. And I'm not saying I'm good enough to notice every time a Firebrand wall comes down. I'm just saying where you can see really good players can make more use of some builds than others. Anyway, so quickness and power for my guy and heals. I want him to get off the node. Why is he on the node? Get off the node! Come on, let's kill him. Go! It's the warrior. It's pretty much GG here though, because despite the catastrophe I believe I have witnessed this game has been in some ways, we are snowballing away from them. So yeah, basic stuff. I don't know. I don't need to explain the minutiae of every single skill here. Scourge goes for a transfuse, F1, and then the skill 3 to interrupt. I'm full auto mode right now. Just pressure, 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 pressure. We gotta pressure this. Rev comes in as well with his chaotic release. Reaper on top of it too. And that double kill right there. That combo of Reaper Rev is pretty goddamn nasty, man, if it can get in. I see that this guy's getting hit hard from the enemy soul beasts. So I just resustain him. The 5 to increase my healing. The downstate Necro uses his poison well. So I think I went for a cleanse there, or I should have. We continue rotting the Reaper. The Reaper got rezzed here, though, and I wonder what happened there. Was he being stealth rezzed by the Thief? I guess he was. So, yeah, because I didn't notice what the hell was going on there. In some ways, some of those other bodies I wanted to rot before probably weren't a good idea, considering that Thief's done that a couple of times now, I'm noticing. So anyway, we rescore that kill. And yeah, there you go. So these final engagements, this is... The red team lost here, I think, more than anything else, because they were trickling towards the end. They kept losing the fights in a staggered way, and they kept trickling in. I move off the node, but again, I use my camera and notice someone might be about to decap. So I walk back. I realize he's not going for the decap. So I just hold here, because I now know all I have to do is sit down to win the game. This Guardian's here. He tries to CC me off. Well, he does. And yeah, there you go. Now, I would have played a second, because still, I think I can do a lot better than this. I know I can do a lot better than this. But that was the last placement, and I thought you guys might like to see where we end up. And here it is. I'm at the bottom of Plat, which is pretty much the same as all the time, really. So, yeah, what it was last time I was queuing was you'd probably be around here coming out of placements, and you'd climb to the top of Plat 2, and then drop back down, and then climb to the top of Plat 2. And this is like my range. This is where I always am, really, in PvP. Particularly unlucky streaks, I go down to gold. And it'll be hilarious if in Game of the Day that's about to happen. Particularly lucky streaks, I might even penetrate a bit into Plat 3, but this is really my limit as a player as of the previous seasons. I don't know what it's like now that Duo's there. I don't know what the population's like now. And this is all NA, by the way. Might be a bit arrogant to say, but I think it's easier to rank on EU because there's a lot more... The player base in general has higher rating, and you can get good games and not really wonky games all the time that constantly 50-50 you out. And I feel like I could probably get a better average on EU, but these are NAQs at the moment. And yeah, so that's where I am. That's about it. Here you go, guys. Game of the day, Firebrand. I don't know if we'll play this again tomorrow. I'm still having fun with it, so it might, but I know a lot of you are appreciating the build variety. So maybe we'll pick one of the other ones. You've seen probably my whole pool now of builds that I realistically have played a reasonable amount of. Some of you have been asking for Support Tempest, but I haven't really played Support Tempest in PvP for years. I mean, PvE, I do it all the time. You guys know that. But that has been a long time for PvP, so I don't know. And it was a bit mediocre last time I was playing, so... yeah, maybe there's some other builds that I can play. I mean, there definitely are. There's like Scourge builds and Comedy builds and things I can play. Maybe we'll look at. Anyway, yeah, so there you go, guys. Game of the day. Thanks very much for watching. Let me know what you think. I'll see you.